How would you want to be treated? Every day, we see and hear many things. For example, we see a variety of people, such as people from other countries, as well as advertisements on TV or online. We even hear other people's conversations on crowded buses or subways. It may seem like we don't pay attention to these things. However, our minds automatically form attitudes, opinions, and judgments about them. We rarely think about whether these thoughts are right or wrong. For example, what would you think if you met a white man who couldn't speak English? This would surprise some Koreans, who assume that all white people speak English. Of course, this is not the case. The man could be from a country where English isn't used. How about you? Do you assume that all white people speak English? Such thinking is based on something called a stereotype. A stereotype is a fixed idea that many people have about a certain type of person or thing. The most common stereotypes are general ideas about people based on their age, gender, skin color, physical ability, economic status, or academic background. Stereotyping is so common that most people don't even realize when they're doing it. It can be something as simple as saying, girls are sensitive, boys are tough, or old people are conservative. However, none of these statements are 100% true. Prejudice is also a form of stereotyping, but it's much more serious. Prejudice is an unreasonable dislike of or preference for someone or something. Many people are prejudiced against certain religions, races, nationalities, or other groups without really knowing much about them. People who are prejudiced often say things like, African Americans are dangerous, or disabled people can't do the same things as normal people. I can feel everyone staring at me when I walk down a street. I know it's because I look different. People avoid me because of the color of my skin. Even on a crowded subway, people do not like to sit next to me. A male professor from South Africa. The above quote is an example of prejudice felt by a foreigner in Korea. This person is treated differently because of his skin color. Unfortunately, it's common for us to judge others negatively based on differences. Instead of thinking this way, however, we should try to learn more before we make a judgment. The worst thing about prejudice is that it can make people treat others cruelly. Acting based on stereotypes or prejudices, people practice discrimination. Discrimination is the unequal treatment of a person or a group. It may mean not allowing them to participate in certain activities or limiting their access to work. In other words, it's denying them something they have a right to. Throughout history, various groups of people, such as women, immigrants, and racial minorities, have been discriminated against, and they often still are. One day, I took my 6-year-old son to a public bathhouse. However, as soon as I got to the entrance, I was told to leave. The owner of the facility said that allowing a foreigner in would make the water too dirty for Korean people to use. I showed the owner my Korean identification card and explained that I was a Korean citizen. But she just said, "No foreigners allowed." A housewife from Uzbekistan. That means if her skin had been a different color, the owner would have let her in. This is an example of racial discrimination, or racism. Racism is the mistreatment of members of another race. It is one of the oldest and worst forms of discrimination. One famous historical example of racism was the treatment of Jews by the Nazis during World War II. Thankfully, the horrible acts of the Nazis came to an end. But there is still a lot of racism occurring in a lot of places around the world today. Unfortunately, Korea is one of these places. Foreigners who come to Korea to live and work are often treated unfairly. In today's world, it's becoming more and more common for people of different races to live and work together. So we need to learn how to respect each other's rights. In other words, we need to learn tolerance. Tolerance is the willingness to accept people who are not like us. It requires effort to understand and respect people who are different from us. Understanding what stereotypes, prejudices, and discrimination are is a good first step to learning tolerance. Perhaps the easiest way to build tolerance is to simply apply the golden rule. Do to others as you would have them do to you.